What's up, guys? Alexander Thomas here. Welcome back to Gaming Time 123 for the second episode for the Ants. We're going to talk about the draft in this episode here. This is going to be hopefully a much shorter episode than the first video was because there shouldn't be much to talk about. I already kind of cover the basics for it. I'm already covered the basis for us. Basic idea here. There's not much to say about this, but basic idea is if you guys do control a team, you don't really need to watch this video if you don't control a team because it's not going to make a difference to you. You guys can feel free to do it, watch it, look at it though. This one here is all the teams and their current respective picks. I will say some trades have occurred already in the NBL, which means teams will going to have some different picks. For example, you'll see here the Panthers' first pick doesn't come until round 3, I believe. Is that right? It might be even round 4. Looking at this here. Now, Panthers don't have a pick in the first round or second round. But here's the real conference in the Panthers. Panthers have had the first round pick in the last, I think, 4 seasons. So that they don't have a first round pick this year. They also do have an additional pick. I do want to point out that they have 5 picks in this round. And any other teams, if you want to make a trade with a team, that would be more. That was discussed more in the other video. That will link to this at the end of the video. Basic idea here is that you get to choose if you want to get the Chargers. I'm just going to say this: if you have the Chargers, then you can send me a list using the NBL Sports Hour email. And say, these are the players I would like to get. Where are the players, you might ask? The players are going to be all on this list here. The recommendations here are you want to go for a higher player, most likely. You might want to go for, round 1, you generally want to go for someone like in the higher 90s. And one that has more of an average rating. Top 10s are not unreasonable in this case. But you do want to look at the other thing about the teams, and that's what the teams need. And that is mentioned on team rosters on this one, which will also be linked in this one. So you'll see that will also be the draft grades. That will show you what your team has and what your team might. So you might want to look and say, the Kings, the team I control, only has 1 point guard. Probably should try to get a point guard. There are plenty of point guards. There's plenty of defensive backs. There's plenty of forwards. You're not going to have a problem finding them, okay? Unless you get to round 4, then it might be a little bit more difficult. The idea basically here is that you can choose any, and you can. If you want to give me all 160 players in order, the order you want them, you can do that. What I will do is I'll go down the list and say, let's assume that you have the first player will be the first player, and I was like, look at this and say, all right, Stuart Phillip, has he been picked yet? If he's been picked, I'll skip him to the next one. If that player's been picked, I'll go to the next one. If all the players happen to be picked, let's say you get somebody 10 players, I will go with what I gave, the idea I've got, or probably the next player on the list that has a reasonable chance to be drafted by the players. I'm going to have, if no one picks him, I will have every pick for the team. I'm not going to show you that because it's not real. You don't need to see that. But you can go through this. You can say these are the players I want. If you want to make a trade, which is you're allowed to do, if you control a team. If you're the owner of the Chargers, you can say you want to make a trade. You will have to send. All you do is send an email to me using the NBL Sports Hour, and say, I would like the Chargers would like to trade your team. The Chargers would like to trade this pick and this pick for this pick. Let's say just gonna. I think I've already used this, but let's say Chargers want to trade the first round pick to the Panthers. I'm just going to give an example for that. They want their 14th, their 114th, 115th, and maybe their first round pick next year, which is because the Panthers have a whole bunch of them, for the first round pick this year. Not saying that's going to happen. If that happens, I would be like, wow, really? And there's been mentioned before the Chargers do not want to give rid of the first. And honestly, I'm not sure I want to get rid of the first pick. Although there has been a supposed curse with the first round pick. The player that they draft has done terribly, unless they were the Panthers. I don't have the notes of any of the actual first round picks. But there is a bit of the trade block here. If it's an offer, this is no longer available, by the way. If you want to make an offer, I will put the list here as well for any of the actual wanted trades. If a trade is denied or it takes 7 days, you got 7 days to do this, then I will decline the trade. It's automatically going to be declined. So you'll have 7 days to make the trade, with 2 exceptions. The 2 exceptions are if another team also wants to make a trade for that pick, and that pick is decided to parents. The trade that you want will be declined automatically. After 7 days, it will also be declined. But there is one final thing to note. The trade deadline is officially the end of the first week, as of right now. So Monday at 6 o'clock, after the first week's over, the trade deadline will be enforced, and any offers that were not made within the 7 days will be declined. So if you cannot make, if after that day you can't make any trades for it anymore. That's the trade deadline. The reason I have that is because it's kind of like having a team. You want a team that actually have some reasonable factors, and say, hey, you get to be with that team. The trade thing is open from, make sure I'm right about this, the 1st of this month, so October 1st, all the way till February 12th at 6 p.m. It's available in that full time. You can make any trade you want. There's only basically the only thing is I have to actually have notifications so I can make the trade happen. Because if the trade happened, like, if the Chargers and Cardinals decide to make a trade, the Chargers decide to take the first pick for the 42nd pick and something else, I'm not going to have a clue that it happened unless I'm notified that it happened. So basically, as long as there is a trade occurring, if you want to make a trade, you have to notify me and I can make the trade happen in context as long as it's. What will happen is if you send me an email saying the Chargers would like to trade pick 1 for pick 42, I will send whoever that is. If there's someone that owns that and say, the Chargers would like to trade for the pick 42, then they're going to be able to come back and say, either, yeah, that sounds good for me, or they're going to say, nope, that's it. Or they might counteroffer. If there is no team that owns that, I make the decision as the NBL head. That's why we like to have more players, just to go for this so that I won't have to make all the decisions. And I will probably give a day or two, so that might be 2 days to decide whether that trade is going to be verified. And then I'll send you an email back that says, hey, trade worked, or I'll say the trade is declined. It just comes down to that factor. There's not really much else to say about the NBL draft. The NBL draft here is available. Again, I want to go and confirm this again. This is the round R1 or whatever it is, R2, R1, R3, R4. That is the round number. So round 1 is R1. If it's R1 top T10, that means the top 10 predicted. And that's the idea. If it's predicted to be round 4, then that does not mean it has to go in round 4. That just means that it's predicted round number, which means it could go. That's where it's predicted to go. And they can see there's probably more round 1s. There's probably less round 1s than are actually supposed to be. There's more round 2s than supposed to be, and you get the point for that. Once that is all done, once the draft occurs on the going for this here, I know if you guys see this, the 30th, the 31st, and the 1st for sure. There'll be one round the first night, one round the second night, and there could be 2 rounds on the third night, or there could be 1 round that night and there'd be another round on the second. Haven't decided if that's going to work out or not. It depends on how round 1. I'll decide after round 1. It's like, okay, so this took 3 hours. We're doing only 1 round each night. It will be live. Last year I only did round 1 live. Round 2 all rounds are going to be live this year. What will happen with the draft is there will be, I'm not going to show you what it's going to look like. Going to this here. You'll see me, you'll see the roster. You'll see a list here. I don't think I'm going to show you, but let's see. You'll see whoever it is, image of a team who is currently picking. You won't see who they drafted. I will say who they drafted in the end. And that's basically all that's going to matter. And then when you go to this list here after, let me go back to the thing here. now once a player has been drafted, what I'll do, I'm gonna go and just do this for, let's say the first pick is Norris Note. I will say whose team got him. So I'm gonna say that's the team that got him. I'll have this on a different thing. That would be the idea. I'll say the Chargers picked him, and then I'll go back later and make the list of all players. Just give me an idea. Players can go at any time. If the worst player in the NBL history for this draft, which I don't even know who that is, it's probably... I don't know who. I have no idea who it might be, but if the worst player in the NBL history goes in the first pick, that's what happens. It won't go in the first round pick if I have anything to say about it because of if I'm the one making the pick, because I will have an entire list of players that are going to go in the first round. But that's the basic idea. That's really all there is for the draft. This video will go live probably around the same time the other video will go live. I hope you guys will join me as being one of the NBL heads, or NBL team is. Thank you guys for watching. Don't forget to keep your game on, and I will see you guys in the next video.